I want to get your opinion on this because I was very fortunate to work out with the linebackers for the first few years of my NFL career. It was when I got to play quarterback with the scout team against our defense, and I used to go through drills with the linebackers as well. Not only would I be the running back on the card and telling them which way to shed and what holes to fill and gaps to fill, I was also a part of the, ball getting tossed at legs drill and keep sliding down, which I believe has been in football since forever.
Since it started.
Since football started, this is a rule that has been in place because chop blocks back in the day, much more prevalent than they are now because they have been limited a bit, right?
Yeah, you could high-low people back in the day. You could be engaged up high and someone can come by and cut your legs out.
Yeah, so it used to be something that was wide open and you had to prepare for it with different drills. So whenever Thibodeaux got cut blocked this weekend, and we are learning now it was an MCL, he'll be out 3 to 4 weeks. The Giants are reporting he'll be back for week 1. Ian Rappaport's saying, I'm doing some math. I don't know if that's the case. We will see who's right. But as soon as this play happened, the reaction from the media was maybe my favorite thing. Warren Sharp posted. Warren Sharp posted.
I wanted to arrest this guy.
This is dirty as fuck,
whoa,
says Warren Sharp. He was the first one to put it onto the internet, and everybody was reacting to the Warren Sharp tweet. There was Emmanuel Acho, who was obviously tweeting, this is ridiculous, dangerous, and cowardly, straight cowardly. Prayers up for Kayvon Thibodeaux, says Emmanuel Acho, obviously one of the faces of Fox Sports 1, former NFL player who I have more tackles than.
That's
we have
right.
to remember that. He's obviously an incredibly talented brain, and he has played in the NFL, and he has been a great college football player, but he jumped on the bandwagon of this being cowardly and dangerous. It didn't stop there. It continued. Rich Eisen, who we have a lot of respect for, said penalty, hefty fine, suspension, nothing less is acceptable. This man was the first hire by the NFL Network, been around the game a long, long time. And obviously, a lot of people aren't happy about one of the biggest stars of this year's draft, a man who is on the rise, getting injured in a preseason game in the fashion that he got injured in. But for every response, there seemed to be former players that were also coming out and saying, excuse me, definitely not dirty. It's an unfortunate part of the game, and I hope Kayvon bounces back ASAP, says Darius Butler, who will talk in the next hour. He was not the only one. Others jumped in. Will Blackman, it's not dirty. You got to use your hands and get your feet out of the way. Praying he isn't seriously injured and bounce back. Everybody says kind of like, hey, this is just part of the game. We hope this doesn't happen and somebody gets injured. We hope he gets healthy. Mark Schlereth said, excuse me, Archer. This is a block that is executed hundreds of times every weekend. Cowardly? Come on. I would argue it's horrible defense. So, AJ, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, a man who has been a linebacking legend forever and has had to do drills. When I run this play, which we're about to do, can I get your thoughts live on if it's dirty, if it's not dirty, and how this probably should have went, AJ Hawk?
Well, what Thibodeaux, he has to have an idea that tight end's coming back across the ball to get him. Like, that's definitely an option. He knows this little split zone look could be coming. So I don't think he's taken by surprise.
Okay, play it.
You see, yeah, it's hard because they got that ghost motion behind him. So he thought for a second he had to check that motion that they faked to. You see it?
The end
around. I think
around.
that's what caused him right here. He kind of stopped. If he would have kept going, he'd be fine. I think that's why 81 as well kind of was like in between hitting him in like as he's going down. Thibodeaux's just got to keep going, but I think that ghost motion took his attention for a split second.
So split second, he looks at the end around, which is supposed to just window.
Right foot in the ground too. That's what caused it, I think. And someone else has a responsibility to take that ghost motion, but you can definitely kind of flash for you.
By the way, that's a window dressing that everybody's just trying to get everybody just for a half a second to bite so that something can open up on the other side. No edge, no chance. Thibodeaux probably thinking of that as the end around's coming, so he looks. It does appear as if he gets his eyes on Cuzzy that cuts him, though, late because he tries to drop down. What's the move here, AJ? Is it both hands to the shoulder?
I mean, you got to get your legs out of it. You can't put that right foot in the ground right there so close to it. You got to kind of get your feet out. And whether he just got to go to him and hit him high before the guy even gets low. But if he is low, yeah, you got to get your hands down and play off that cut almost.
It's a terrible.
But also, don't take yourself out of the play, though. You you need to make sure that ball cuts back. So you can't like jump away from it. You have to push it down and keep your feet out.
So what do you think do you think he was thinking about just putting an inside arm on it and kind of?
Which that works. A lot of times you can see this play a million times and how guys play it. Yeah, a lot of times like inside right forearm, but you also kind of got to keep your right foot off the ground too. So you got to use it's a tough. His foot was in the ground. He took that split second. I feel like with the ghost motion, that's what kind of caused it.
Yeah, so not dirty though, you don't think?
No, come on now. It's not dirty.
Okay. Good to know.
All right. So there's a lot of people that are driving conversation.
What, do we have other plays? You have rights now. There's a million split zone, whatever it is. Look it up. You'll see how other guys play it.
Why don't you send us a couple of those plays for us to maybe have?
Yeah, okay. With you in them.
You knew we were going to talk about this, pal.
Where do I get them now? There's NFL Live or Plus.
Internet.
You just text it to us. You just text it to us.
Oh, okay.
Well, didn't that happen last year? But it was Logan Thomas who blew his knee out when he was pulling because the DN went low while he was doing that type of block.
He can't take anybody low.
Yeah, now defense can't go low on anybody on offense.
Okay.
Now, might have been.
I might be remembering it incorrectly, but I remember that it was a similar type of play where
maybe that caused
football
the rule
team.
change.
Logan Thomas back today, by the way.
Yes,
for the Commanders coming out in there. Now, Thibodeaux did not do the same as Logan Thomas. Congrats on recovery and rehab, by the way. And that's no fun at all. Thibodeaux with an MCL out 3 to 4 weeks. What I was going to get to there was if you see the way Warren Sharp, Acho, and Rich Eisen paint that thing, and you don't have everybody else coming back and saying, like, excuse me, like, this is something that happens.
If it was from behind, if Thibodeaux's out there and someone comes from behind and he doesn't see him and you dive directly at his legs, that is very, very dirty and should never happen. But that's not the case here.
Okay. So
he saw him coming. They made eye contact. Like, it's not. You can't really call that a dirty thing.
Okay, so we don't want anybody to get hurt, including Thibodeaux, because we are big fans. We've heard he's a weirdo because he talks about
likes NFTs.
NFTs and stuff. That supposedly is why he dropped in the draft, which is absurd. So we hope he's healthy, just like everybody else. But you could see how a narrative could be built there. Oh
yeah.
By a lot of people that watch a lot of these shows and follow along and get their insight and information from these people who have warranted, have had success, been around a long time, have sacrificed a lot of time with their families for the game, and we appreciate that. But I'm very thankful that we live in an age where, because I didn't know, it looked nasty, but I've never played.
How about this morning?
So I just kept my mouth
Did the show still talk about it this morning?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Are they still on board with it being dirty?
Swagoo was echoing the very dirty sentiments. Just because he said just because it's a legal block doesn't mean it's not dirty.
Which is true, by the way. There are some of those things that can be described, I think, like some plays. Not that particular play.
I think it's hard when they legit saw each other. They recognized the play. Thibodeaux does, and so does the tight end coming back across the ball. I have a hard time thinking that's dirty.
Run it again, because Thibodeaux goes down and sees it.
Yeah.
So, like, he sees it. Even if he pauses it.
But he took that little hop step before that. If he'd have kept going towards him, I don't think we would have had an issue.
But I think, like, the thing here is.
Look, he glanced at that ghost motion. He's head quick, like, quarter-inch turn.
So he might have saw Cuzzy come in, squares up for him, and then he sees that guy, and then he's back at this guy, right? That's what
he was in a weird spot. Yeah, he would have just kept – if he would have just – He read it right, and then all of a sudden, if he'd just kept going instead of stopping and trying to plant his leg.
You got 48 scraping. I assume he thinks he's going to the outside if the window dressing guy gets this ball in the end around?
Yeah, that's his responsibility most likely. It wouldn't be the corners here.
Okay,
yeah,
so
48's got to get over the top, and which he does.
So Thibodeaux is just spilling this in, is what he thinks?
Or boxing it back, knocking it back. Don't let it get outside of you, obviously, which they don't want to run outside of him, really.
Yeah, well, Thibodeaux, though, I'm just wondering if he's scared to death that that's his fucking job, that guy that's going around. But you're saying...
I bet for a second he did. Yeah, for sure, there's a lot coming at you.
Do you think that was his job or not?
No, I don't. Definitely not his job. I wouldn't put that on DN.
You're saying 48's job right there.
Yeah, and they're executing it. They're doing well. It's just his foot got stuck in the ground. And he just got to keep going, I guess.
And is this, this is a rookie playing. Is this a good, kind of... Everything happens so quickly. That's why what we see on Sundays when things are going well or not happening, we should be incredibly impressed by. Because this is an eighth of a second. He has a second thought and fucking boom, MCL torn.
Yeah, and he comes off the line. He's like, okay, I'm unblocked. So it's very rare where you come off unblocked. Okay, who's coming to kill me? Like, that's your first thought when you're unblocked.
I hope he's okay. 3 to 4 weeks.
Well,
ago.
to your point about like the narratives too, like if you didn't play high level football or whatever, and you're looking at it, and like they're stigmatizing and assassinating 81's character when he's just doing what he's coached to do. It's like this guy's out here, trying to make the team, and it plays like this, and now he wakes up the next day and everyone's saying, "Look at this dirty son of a bitch!" Like this guy, shouldn't be on a football field. Like that's not okay either.
Yeah, well,
he was probably getting threats last night from Giants fans. To be honest, probably on social media.
Yeah, because Thibodeaux is supposed to be a guy for Giants fans, and this asshole, I seen it. It's dirty. I seen it. That's what somebody's saying.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I seen. Let's get this guy out of here. Let's kick him out of the league. It's a wild time. It's a wild time, and I think what we say matters. No, not us, but other people that are in positions of importance. What they say matters because you're painting a narrative there, and. I think it did look bad, though. So a lot of people probably just on their emotional reaction, probably. That's all. Yeah. Probably just a little emotional reaction.
Sure. A great time.
Suspend him, fine him, get him out of the fucking game.
See that?
Kill this guy. Suspend him from the XFL, too, this fucking dirtbag. That's kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
Dirty as fuck.
They're going to fire the whole coaching staff, too, saying, like, these guys are all dirty. What are we doing?
This is kind of like last year, I guess, whenever Micah Parsons, who would go on to become Defensive Rookie of the Year, obviously, in his first game, was playing a position he never played before, and he had his check, and then he got by a good play call over his head, and he was getting roasted by similar people on the internet, and had to go out and say, like, well, I understand stats-wise say this, but in real football, that is just not the case at all.
Bengals tight. That was number 81.
Yeah.
He comes from a great lineage. I don't think he's a dirty player.
He does. No, he's serious.
It's Randy's kid.
Yeah, it's Thad Moss.
Oh, there you go.
Suspend them. These motherfuckers don't even know they're talking about fucking Randy Moss's kid, I bet. I bet they have no idea.